Welcome to Tuesdays at 2. I'm your host, RJ. In this show, we take a new ingredient every week. It's going to be an ingredient you can find at your local supermarket, and we're going to teach you how to make a wonderful recipe with it. So stick around and check out the recipe. Hello, welcome to Tuesdays at 2. Guys, I didn't see you last week. I was traveling. We had a couple of things going on. But if you haven't joined us for Tuesday at 2 before, this is our weekly cooking show where the crew puts a bunch of ingredients in the bowl. I have to pick something out. I have to come up with a couple of recipes. The rules has to be something that you can find at your local grocery store, or at least reasonably. And something that you would want to cook, and hopefully something that maybe you haven't cooked, or bring an ingredient that you're scared of, or something along those lines. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I picked out dragon fruit. Now, I've been picking out tropical fruit for like 2 months, and if there's another tropical fruit in there, I'm just going to kick the bowl. So I'm about done with the tropical fruit. However, I'm going to bring you something super good today. 2 meals like usual, or 2 dishes. They could be used together. One could be an appetizer this time, but both of them really could be standalone. So, like usual, I'm going to kind of mix these together. I'm going to cook, excuse me while I make sure this water is warm enough. I'm going to kind of cook 2 things at the same time, kind of together. I will try to keep you on board, try to keep you into which recipe we are, and hopefully you guys can keep up. Like always, questions, comments, everything below. So this week was dragon fruit. Everybody said, don't go sweet, don't go sweet. It's hard not to go sweet. I tried as hard as I could. We're not doing a drink. We're not doing dessert. What we are doing is we're going to do a super easy fish taco with a dragon fruit salsa. This is going to be a fresh, if you can get fresh cod, excuse me, if you're close to the ocean, you can get fresh fish, whatever you like to fry. This is super fresh, really quick meal. It's a taco that you don't have to be scared to make. You don't have to be scared to make it for your family. You don't have to make it for your friends. And you can do it on a Wednesday night when you just don't have a lot of time. The other meal we're going to mix in is a dragon fruit and shrimp salad, kind of, with forbidden rice. If you've never had forbidden rice, it is a black grain rice. I actually couldn't find forbidden rice at my local grocery store. Usually could. I substituted Minnesota wild rice. It's also a black grain rice. It's a little bit longer grain. It also, unfortunately, takes quite a bit longer to cook. So I have had that on and kind of simmering for the past, 20 minutes. Hopefully it was long enough. Hopefully I'll be able to pull it off. Hopefully it's tender enough. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and switch it over to my hot plate and make sure that we can get that where it needs to go. But wait, before we continue, do me a favor. Click that like button, subscribe to us if you haven't already, make sure you've hit the bell so you get our notifications, and comment down below. I know you don't like everything I do, so let me hear it. Now, back to the recipe. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get started on the fish tacos first, because I've already got the rice going for the dragon fruit salad with shrimp. And so, excuse me. Actually, what you do, let me start over. What you need to do at the very beginning of the rice meal, and I'm not going to show you on camera because I had to do it 1.5 hours ago. What I should have done was make you more. What happened was I went to the kitchen and the crew had used all my honey, so I couldn't do it again. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a cup of orange juice, half a cup of honey, hot honey if you have it. If not, do a teaspoon of red pepper flake, a touch of salt, mix it together, and then throw your shrimp in there and let them marinate. So that's what I've got going on here. You want to be able to marinate it for at least an hour. I wouldn't go much longer than 3 though. This is definitely not an overnight marinade. The acid in the orange juice will end up eating the shrimp, and they'll be really gummy and stringy, which I know is weird, but that'll be the texture that comes out if you over marinate them. So let's not do that. Okay, so we've got that going already. We have the rice going already. Again, I put this on probably 20 or 30 minutes ago. This particular grain of rice is going to take us, I don't know, probably 35 minutes to get done. So I'm hopeful that we kind of got in early enough. So the next step is we're going to make kind of the slaw that will go on the fish tacos. So you're going to take a head of red cabbage. You can buy a pre-cut if you like pre-cut better. I've already cut it in half. I'm going to go ahead and quarter it. We're not even going to use a quarter. So what you'll see when you open up cabbage, obviously you have that core in there. You want to cut that core out. Excuse me. So you just cut it out, discard that. It's really tough. It doesn't cook out well when you do cut it out, or when you do cook it out. You can get it tender, but it's going to be bitter. That's kind of the part that you got to throw away. It is the stalk of the the cabbage, and you're probably not going to want to eat it. Anyway, so you're going to take about a cup of this. I like to cut these razor thin, so get a good sharp knife, go as close as you can. Again, if you don't feel comfortable doing this, you can cut it a little thicker, and by all means, if you want to use pre-cut, go for it. I would have used pre-cut, honestly, if I could have found the pre-cut at the store. They didn't have it, so I just figured I'd cut for you guys. So we're going to take about a cup of this, give or take. You don't need a ton, because we're not making a slaw that you're serving on the side. This is going to be a topping for the tacos themselves. So you're going to take these. You can put this, you're going to toss that with vinegar. So I just have just plain white vinegar. I'm probably going to use about a tablespoon. You don't need a ton. A little extra. Then I'm going to put dragon fruit, lime juice, cilantro, and red onion all in it. So let's do the lime juice first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a half a lime worth of juice. I've already got some of these cut up, so let's use these. I should have used that half so I could use these for garnish, but that's okay. I've got a knife. I can redo them. We're going to do about 2 tablespoons of onion. I'm leaving the dragon fruit for the end so I can really show you guys how to dissect those. They're actually extremely easy. So for the red onion, I think you should go diced with them. The problem is this isn't a quick pickle, so the onion's not going to break down quite that much. So I know that a pickled onion is fantastic. And don't get me wrong, a red onion is good as well, but you're going to have that harsh oniony flavor in this if you have too much in your mouth at one time. So I'm going to go with a pretty fine dice on this. Boop, add it to the bowl. You guys, every time I take a week off, I come back and feel like I've never cooked before. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Lime juice, where to put in? We're going to the dragon fruit. Let's move these out of the way. We're also going to use a half jalapeno. We'll put that in last. So we're going to use 1/2 a dragon fruit for this part. And so a dragon fruit, if you've never used dragon fruit, here, let's see if I can cut a piece off. If you've never used dragon fruit before, your texture is a lot like a kiwi. It's really easy to break. You don't need your teeth or to put in. Or obviously you wouldn't just bite it with your teeth, but you don't necessarily need a knife. You can break it apart with your hands. Usually what I do is kind of the same thing I do with an avocado. Is I gently stroke down the insides with a knife. You can feel the resistance. Be careful when you do this. Let me start there. But you can feel the resistance when you do this against the skin. So you just kind of stop there. And you just go down with the knife a couple of times and you dice it up. And then what's going to happen is when you scoop this out, it's going to come pre-diced for you. Watch. Not sure if you can see it, but so we have a pre-dice. Boom, that's what we're looking for. And then you can go right around the inside and just scoop out all the flesh. You're going to leave the skin. It's going to look a lot like that. This is going to come in later for our rice dish. We're going to save these. These really make a really good bowl. They make a really good presentation piece. I've got a ton of them. We're going to need more. So for this, I'm going to toss it away. But so you can see how you can just scrape the flesh out of the inside. It's the same way, again, as you would do with an avocado. So I'm going to take this and just kind of hand mix it. We're going to set it to the side. We want those fruits to get, or the flavors, I'm sorry, to really get mixed together. I wouldn't do this too far in advance. Because again, there is vinegar in there. There is acid in there. So we don't want to make it a quick pickle. We don't want it to be runny. We want everything to be nice and crisp. We want the cabbage to be crisp. We want the onions to be crisp, and obviously the dragon fruit is a little bit softer of a fruit. So you don't want to ruin that and have it be too soft. I'm also going to take half a jalapeno. I'm going to dice it real fast. Actually, I'm going to de-seed it. So with a jalapeno, if you don't de-seed it, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just going to be spicier, and you will get a seed. You could get a seed in your mouth, and not that that's bad. You just have that harder texture of the seed. But I've got a lot of people here. I've got to feed lunch to everyone. I can't eat everything I cook, unfortunately. So if you take the seeds out and you take the membrane out, you're going to get a lot of the jalapeno flavor with very little of the heat, which is really good. So that way, people in the office or people in your home or whatever, if they're a little shy about spicy food, this is a good way to introduce that chili pepper flavor without introducing too much heat. And when it's mixed with everything, with all the sugar that's in this, it's really going to kind of dilute any of that. So we'll come back to that jalapeno in a bit. We are going to slice it for garnish, but this is all you're going to need right there. Okay, so next up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take flour and get a bowl, right? Get a mixing bowl. Let's start with there. We're going to have a recipe online, guys. I always use more flour than I put in the recipes. I like to really get mine in there, really get it, everything coated. The recipe I have on there is more for a calorie count. That way we can actually count it. So I'm probably going to use 2.5 cups, 3 cups of flour in this recipe for the fish that I'm making today. So I'm going to mix that with salt, pepper. Doing anything else? Let me see. Oh, baking powder is important in this one. And then you'll see. So you're going to do salt and pepper first. And you mix that with your hands. Now here comes the fun part. I've got to cut the fish. So I'm going to move some of these clean things away. Get the dirty one in. And then we can come back in a second. Okay. So first step. Get yourself a plate. I'm using a paper plate because I can throw them away. Our kitchen cleanup crew loves it when I can throw things away. I hate wasting things, but with fish, anything where you're really going to put raw chicken, anything like that, you want to stay as clean as you can. I'm serving other people, excuse me, and I'm showing you guys how to do it. So I want to do best practices, obviously. So with the fish, what we're going to do, I got a whole side of white cod. You only need probably about 8 ounces for this meal. I'm going to go ahead and fry it up so everybody can have it. So we're going to take the white cod and we're going to cut it into chunks. You want to make sure that you kind of cut on the bias these really thick pieces, only because they're going to take forever to cook. So if you cut them on the bias, you can make the pieces a little bit thinner, and they'll cook a little faster, which is what you're looking for. Otherwise, you just want everything to cook evenly and to cook at the same speed. What really sucks is when you're frying something or cooking something, and one piece takes 20 minutes and the other piece is 2 minutes. And now you have hot stuff and cold stuff. It's that's no fun at all. So while I cut this, here are some facts that I know about dragon fruit. So you guys may know there are 2 colors of dragon fruit. There is a white inside and a purple inside. The flavors are, I can't tell the difference. How's that? I am sure that there is someone out there that's going to correct me and tell me that the white or the pink is sweeter, or it has more of a nutty flavor, or whatever probably correct thing they're going to tell me. I've had them side by side. I can't really tell the difference. One is pink, one is white. They can be used interchangeably. Now, they are 2 different kind of plants. They're both dragon fruit plants, but it's not like one is male, one is female. They are 2 distinct species of the plant. The white ones, give me a second, I need to clean my hands and I'll show you. But the white ones and the pink ones have 2 different, man, that's a lot of fish. That's all right. We got a lot of people here. Okay. So the white ones and the pink ones have 2 different distinct characteristics to their skin. Hold on, I'll be right back. Washing my hands. Olive oil. So I need to get a little sink over here so you guys can, I don't care if you can see me wash my hands, but that way I don't have to walk off screen. Okay, anyway, so the white ones, these are all white. You can tell because the open leaves of the fruit go up and they go from north to south on the fruit itself. The pink ones are going to have, the flowers are going to be yellower and they go around the equator of the plant. So if you're in the store and you see that, you'll be able to tell if you're getting a white one or a pink one. Again, they're pretty interchangeable. The white is a very distinctive fruit. There's not very many of them. They're the more popular fruit. You're going to find them more often at your store. That's not to say you're not going to be able to find the pink ones. We get both of them around here. I was only able to find the white ones this morning when I was shopping, but we get them both around here. Oh, we're still doing this. All right, so what we're going to do next is we are going to take this fish. We're going to put it in here. And then, so if you have a wire rack and a pan, put the wire rack on a sheet pan. Excuse me. And then we'll do this. What I have, we don't have a wire rack here. I couldn't find one today. So I took a piece of aluminum foil and crumpled it up. What that's going to do is that's going to give you a lot a lot of nooks and crannies or whatever. It gets more important after we fry, but it gets important for this side too. So we're gonna take this fish, we're gonna throw it in here. I am gonna dump it all into this flour. We're gonna toss it, and then we're gonna try to get it out of there. I'm gonna have to wash my hands again. No big deal. Let's see, what tool do I have? I have this one. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting on the first coat of the coating here. We are going to do a quick beer batter. Most beer batters you're going to end up with egg, obviously some type of liquid, some kind of coagulator, usually baking soda, and then something with yeast in it, which again, that's the beer. So we are going to cut out the egg. What's going to happen is it's going to be a little bit more watery, but it's going to cook a little bit better. It's going to cook up crisper, and you won't have that big bloated coating like you get on onion rings. So onion rings, usually that's the big one. Onion rings, corn dogs, that kind of stuff is beer batter. Corn dogs are a little different, obviously, because all the cornmeal, but that is kind of the idea. So guys, I am using here to warm up this, or to, I guess not warm up, but to cook this rice. I am using our 6720 is the model number, but it is our HD non-stick saucepan. See, guys, it's like I've never done this before, and I do it every week. Anyway, it's our HD non-stick saucepan. This thing is 3.4 quarts. I could be lying to you. It could be 3.2. It could be 3.5. But it's right around there. It's a fantastic pan. They heat up wonderfully. The great thing I love about these pans isn't for cooking rice. I mean, of course they can cook rice, but you can cook rice anywhere. I really love those pans for cooking a sauce, right? Cooking a deep tomato sauce, or cooking a chili, or cooking any sauce where you really want to simmer it down all day, or at least for a long time. What's going to happen if you do that in a stainless steel pan? You'll get that ring around the pan that it's really hard to clean off. You have to soak it for hours, if not days. This is different. So what's going to happen is you'll get the sauce done, pull it out, excuse me, and then once you pull the sauce out, you'll be able to almost wipe the inside. You may need to use a sponge with some soap and water, but you'll be able to wipe the inside with a paper towel. And that's kind of it. All right, so what we're doing here is we're going to take this fish, we're going to set it aside for a second. We're not quite ready to fry that off. So I'm going to use the rest of this flour that I have in here. Excuse me. I'm going to take about a tablespoon of baking soda. Again, this is going to be the leavening agent that we need to react with the yeast. About a tablespoon. You can eyeball it. This isn't baking. Beer. So you're going to want, in this recipe, I would definitely recommend a Mexican lager. I'm using Modelo. There's a bunch of other ones out there. Normally, I would use actually a craft lager, something you can get local. The reason why I didn't today is because, again, I want to use something you can probably get at your local grocery store, local liquor store, wherever you guys have to pick it up. Definitely, if you can, if you're okay with it and you're not scared to use the beer, or you don't have a problem using it, or you don't have a problem getting it, I would definitely use the beer over water or apple cider vinegar. What are some other options? Water, apple cider vinegar, chicken stock's fine. The yeast in here is going to react with everything that you got going on. It's going to create just a better coating. You're not going to, there's no flavor difference necessarily. So if you want to use something else, you want to add that yeast in, it's fine. But honestly, if it's something you guys are willing to do, I definitely would go for the beer. I got the big one because, well, then there's extra left over afterwards. All right. So what you're looking for here, you'll smell it. It'll smell almost like bread, because that baking soda and this, the baking soda and this beer are going to come together. Excuse me. And it does create almost a dough. You're looking for a liquidy dough. I probably want a little bit too much beer. Good thing about this, you can always put in more flour. Yeah, it's a little liquidy. Guys, I don't know if I like this. It's on. Okay. All right. While we're doing this, every week, we try, like I said, we try to do something new. We try to bring you something new. The crew is working hard on bringing a new style every time, new information every time. Just everything new to you guys. So if there's anything you want to see, anything you want to see us cook, any topics you need us to cover, comment down below. Shoot us a message in our inbox. Our customer service is top notch. Anywhere you think you can contact us, feel free to do so. Let them know you want to see something done live on Amazon, and we will take care of it for you. We definitely enjoy doing this. We enjoy that you guys enjoy it, which is great. And honestly, it gives the crew something to eat, so they're happy about it every Tuesday. All right, guys. So what I've done here is I've made the batter. You can see it's kind of a really wet. What's the name of that stuff? Pancake. A really wet pancake batter. That's exactly where you want it. We're gonna let it sit for just a few minutes. I'll be right back. I gotta run and wash my hands. As you can see, I've got stuff here. I've got to go a little farther than our sink here. So I'll be back in like 2 minutes. Everything's still cooking. Be back and we'll start putting stuff together. Thank you. All right, welcome back. Thanks, guys. I had to wash my hands. Sometimes we just don't have enough tools here, and it's easier. I don't even think about it. I just use my hands. Just make sure you're always washing them, right? So that did have the fish in it to begin with. So always be safe. Instead of just wiping it off, make sure you go wash it. The reason why I had to step a little farther is because I had the batter all over my hand, so our little sink here wouldn't have taken it, and then I got yelled at by our plumber. And I get yelled at enough around here, so decide not to do that. Okay, so what I'm doing is I have our 24 centimeter casserole dish here. I think this is the perfect size. Yeah, that's perfect. Thanks, sir. I think this is the perfect size pot to do some pan frying in, do some pot frying in. I'm not going to do a traditional deep fry. We're not going to fill this up all the way with oil. A couple things. One, I don't think it's super safe. I don't love people frying in their house, even if they have a drop fryer. You forget about it for a second. Your kid cries. You have to go change a diaper. Next thing you know, a little piece came over. You went over your smoke point. It flashed up. Now you have a house fire. I don't love that at all. But I am a proponent of frying in oil. So instead of filling this bad boy up to 2 or 3 inches deep, like you would do with a traditional fried fish, I'm going to put about an inch or so of of oil in there. And what we're going to do is we're just going to fry the two sides, right? So we'll fry one side, we'll flip it over, excuse me, we'll get the other side. It's going to have the same effect. The difference is I'm going to run less of a risk of blowing up it's not my house, but the studio here. If you guys see the sprinklers come on, it looks like it's raining in here, I'll probably disappear. But more importantly, all this electronics will probably cut off. So let's not do that. All right, so here's most important. Make sure you have an oil that smoke point is higher than where you're going. Okay, so if your oil is below the smoke point of the temperature you're trying to get to, what's going to happen, excuse me, is you're going to run two things. One, you're going to run a low risk as opposed to a medium to high risk of catching it on fire. And two, you're not going to get a burnt oil flavor off of anything that you're cooking. So you're not going to get that oil into it. I'm using soybean oil, 375, 400. Which is good because I'm only trying to cook this at 350. A lot of times you may try to flash fry up at 400, 475. I don't want to do that. Again, with the wet batter, I want to go in. I kind of want to set on it. I want to create that doughiness, but not as much as you would with onion rings that you get at a local pub or something like that. So we got the oil going. We got our rice still cooking. So these knobs, or these lids, these are fantastic. So this has a built-in steam vent. When your rice isn't cooking fast enough, or if you are worried that your rice isn't cooking fast enough, or on the flip side, if most of your water's gone and your rice is not done, you can control the steam with this. So what I'm trying to do is I really want to cook down this rice a little faster. I think that the rice is cooking faster than the water is absorbing. So I'm going to open the steam knob, so as it steams, you're going to be able to see the steam come out. I'm not sure if you can see it on any of the camera angles, but it's steaming pretty good. If you wanted to keep the steam in and keep the water inside and keep kind of the rain effect going, you would close that off. Excuse me, yes. Okay, so the shrimp we're going to move back to the shrimp. I didn't forget about you. I promise. We're going to finish up these tacos first, and then we'll jump into the shrimp and what are those called? Dragon fruit salad. Let me pull back up my knife and cutting board. How did I get them in there? There we go. So I'm going to while this is going, I'm going to cut up a little garnish for this. I know we've already got the slaw. So slaw is going to go inside the taco on top of the fried fish. I like sliced jalapeno. These I won't deseed. Like, they go really long on these. Again, most people are just going to pick them off anyway, so you may as well make them look really good. Yeah, that's a big bite of jalapeno. If you're a chili head, if you like heat, they'll eat them. If not, they're just going to throw away the jalapeno anyway. So again, get the nicest cut you can, get the nicest slice you can. Play around with your food. Make people believe in what you're doing, right? So you can see how that's just they're long slices. They're going to look fantastic on top there. This is what I'm going to save. I think that I'm going to do a little something with that, with the leftover fish for the crew. There we go. Boom. I'm also going to get a couple of lime slices. Again, these are going to be for garnish. And fish tacos, nothing better than a fresh squirt of lime on top. So we'll serve them with these. People can put, sprinkle lime on top. Be good to go. What's going to happen? So, guys, I just scooped out this piece of fruit from the shell. I should have shown you the shell, but I scooped out a piece of fruit from the shell. There we go. And I'm just trying to take off the little bit of skin pieces that I had left behind for not having proper utensils. And then I'm going to cut this a lot like you would cut an avocado. Thin and kind of long ways. And you'll see, we'll use it for plating. This is a perfect time if you've never had a dragon fruit and you're cooking with them for the first time and never tasted them. Grab yourself one of these little slices, hop in your mouth, see what you're about to get into. I think it's an amazing fruit. It's one of the few fruits that I recommend using very little salt in the dish. The fruit itself isn't salty, but I find that the salt doesn't bring out a lot in this. Most fruits, of course, when you're eating the fruit by itself, you don't need salt, but most fruits when you're cooking with it, especially if you're doing savory, you're going to need extra salt because of how sweet and how, I don't know, just fruity they are. I know that's not a great describing word, but again, I don't necessarily think you need it with the dragon fruits. So, okay, so what we're going to do to test this oil is I'm going to take just a touch of flour and drop it in. And what we're looking for is we want to just kind of bubble like it's frying. Yep. So I'm going to give that just another minute because our fish is cold. We want to make sure that we're not going to bring the oil too far down. That's the one thing is, excuse me, if you're trying to cook at 350, bring your oil up to 375, put the fish in it. The cold fish is going to drop the temperature. Okay, so here comes the fun again. So I'm going to move this cutting board one more time. Guys, can you grab me a spatula? I'm going to try to do this without getting my... Or no. Sorry, hey, tongs. I said spatula. I'm going to try to do this without getting my hands filled with crap like they were, but let's see. All right, so we are going to take this fish. Excuse me. We're going to dunk it into your beer batter mixture. You don't have to dunk it all the way down. Just give it a kind of a once around. Let the extras drip off, or else this oil is going to be filled with little Crispies. Unless, of course, you love little Crispies, and then go for it. So we're just going to put it in there and let it fry. So these fish pieces, I cut them a little thick. It is fully thawed, so we're probably looking at 6 minutes a side, give or take. Keep an eye on them. That's why we're doing the heat a little bit low, because I know it's going to take a little bit longer. Excuse me. So we don't want things to brown up too incredibly fast. In fact, this is probably a little high. We'll bring that down. So if you're doing this at a house, well, if you're doing this anywhere, it is still frying. Okay, so once you have anything in two rules. One, make sure everything you're using is dry. Make sure there's no just open water. You don't want if you have frozen fish, if you have frozen chicken, if you have frozen anything you're putting in a fryer, it needs to be 100% frozen. Because otherwise what's going to happen is that water is going to come out into the fish, into the oil. And the oil is going to bubble over, could bubble over, and that's where you find a big fire danger. So we don't want that to happen, okay? That's a big, big no-no. And the other thing is don't overcrowd your pan, right? So I've got 4 or 5 pieces of fish in there. We'll let those cook, and then we'll add the other ones. We just definitely don't want to overcrowd anything. So while this is cooking, I really wish this was a little quicker. Oh, we're getting there. Let's taste that. Getting there. Okay. Perfect. So while that's cooking, what we're gonna do is we are going to get our corn tortillas. You need to take out 2 tortillas for however many tacos you're making. I'm probably gonna make 4 tacos. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out 8 tortillas. You'll see why in a few minutes. Keep an eye on that fish. This I told you 4 or 5 minutes aside. I was a little bit wrong. It's meant to cook a little faster. See? I put this in the water and that's what's going on. So these are gonna flip over when they get golden brown. This oil started a little bit hot, like I said, so we went a little bit over. The next ones will be a little bit better. They're gonna taste just fine. We don't have to worry about it. So you just want to make sure that the fish is going to be cooked, right? You don't want to serve raw fish. So the second side, we're going to cook a little bit lower, a little bit slower, no big deal. Okay, so with this, here's my trick. Apple cider vinegar. So we're going to take these tortillas. We're going to take a paper towel that is clean, not one that's ever touched fish or anything. Okay, these just came in, these are clean. Take it like you're about to rub alcohol on a cut. Okay? Just rub just the top of these. And then put the vinegar side to the vinegar side and let them sit for about 2 minutes. I don't know the science of what this does, but I know the flavor of what this does. It is going to bring out a little bit of acidity inside of these taco shells or inside of the tortillas, which is going to go fantastic with the sweetness that is inherently in the corn. I don't recommend you do this with the flour. Not that it does anything bad. It just doesn't do anything. So it's just a waste of time with the flour ones. But the corn have a sweetness in the corn shell themselves. The other thing this does, it does put a bit of moisture in them. As I'm sure you're aware, these things are dry. I am also going to show you another trick in a minute with the steam on this, with this lid, and some steam and this other piece of paper towel I cut off. We're going to do that in probably just a minute or two. Okay, so this first batch of fish looks like it is ready. So we're just going to take it out. I'm using the Swiss Diamond strainer tool. It's great for pasta. It's super good for frying if you're doing this. Anything you need a slotted spoon for, really. I like that it's more set up like a ladle than it is a spoon. I think that gives me better control. Some people probably think it's the other way and you'd rather have it the other way. Everybody's different. That's why we make so many different pieces of cookware. Alright guys, so I'm going to do probably 2 batches of these and I'll do the rest later. See that popping? It's because I got water in there. Again, be careful when you're doing water stuff. Alright, I'm going to move this to the side one more time. Same thing, we're going to take this fish, we're going to dunk it in the batter. And then gently place it in the oil. Again, remember, this is still raw fish going in there, so make sure you're using separate tools to put the fish in than you are to take it out. I know it's easy to forget that once you start putting batter on there, once you've covered it in flour and it sat in flour for a while, it's easy to forget. But it is still raw fish, so again, you just want to make sure you're being safe, practicing that food safety. Raw fish, raw chicken, bottom shelf of the refrigerator. Prepared food, top shelf. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've walked into my refrigerator at the house and my wife has put prepared food in Tupperware on the bottom shelf next to the raw chicken. I had to send her to ServSafe a few years ago. She's not even a chef. I couldn't deal with it. Okay, so same thing. We're letting that go. That's the last one I'm going to do on camera, so I'm going to move all of that for good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close. It's already closed. Yeah. I'm going to close the steam lid on this. We're going to take these tortillas. We're going to stack them. Hopefully I have enough, or hopefully I don't have too many. So we're going to stack them. We're going to put this paper towel on top. We're going to take the steam lid. Let me do that. So what that's going to do is that's going to steam out the tortillas just enough to make them not so dry. Guys, I like this. It's hot, but I don't like it because it doesn't work like the rest of them. Anyway, so this is going to hopefully create just enough moisture in there to keep just enough moisture in there to moisten up these tortillas. So when we fry them up and we try to serve them, they're not going to crumble on us. This trick works most of the time. I shouldn't have just opened it. Hold on. I was looking to see. So we'll do it again. Create a bunch of steam in here. Pop that on there. And then honestly, just leave it alone. Walk away from it. Let it sit. It can sit forever. I will probably let it sit for like 2 or 3 minutes. Uh-oh. Mic still work? Hello, hello? Yeah, okay, good. Sorry, almost lost you. Drop stuff. All right, so we are coming towards the end of these. I know. I haven't even brought out the shrimp yet. You'll see. Okay, so once again, I'm going to cover that. Going to let it sit. Actually going to move it this time so I don't screw with it. Boop. Okay. We're going to go back to cooking. Perfect. It's all going to work, everybody. It's all going to work. I was worried. I don't know about you. Okay. So we're going to flip this fish. This fish is just about done. So one way to tell when you're done, or one way to tell when one side is done, it doesn't help with how the fish is done. But one way to tell how one side is done is the coating on the bottom side or the side that you had in the oil will become pretty hard. I don't know if you can hear this on the mic, but it becomes hard. It's not too it just gives you a crisp shell. It's not hard to bite through. It's not going to screw up your teeth or anything. It just gives you a good bite. All right, so we got everything going well. Look at this. This rice is going to be done on time. That's amazing. Okay, so the fish is just a few minutes out. Once we get the fish out, what we're going to do is we'll move this pan out of the way. I'll show you how to warm up the tortillas, and we'll plate that dish, and then we'll move things around. You guys, give me 2 seconds. We'll bring up the recipe card for the fish tacos. I'm going to do a little cleaning so we can come back and kind of plate without raw fish everywhere. Now that I'm seeing that, I don't want to cross-contaminate. So I'll be back in 3 minutes at the most. Catch you in just a minute. Tuesdays at 2. If you have been following all along, awesome. Welcome back. We're about to plate our first meal, and the second one will go really quickly. If you somehow just joined us in between that quick break, we're making 2 meals today that have to do with dragon fruit. I get challenged every week to make 2 recipes with a ingredient I pull out of a bowl. We've had a ton of tropical fruits, so I'm trying to make sure they're all different. Today we did fish tacos, which we're about to plate up, and we're also doing a wonderful forbidden rice dish. We're going to get to that in just a second. We have been cooking for probably 25-30 minutes. We're about to wrap everything up. You're about to see how this all goes together. Okay, so what I've done is I have put our Swiss Diamond DLX stainless steel pan on here. These stainless steel pans are a favorite of mine. With the encapsulated bottom on them and the single ply walls, they heat up really fast, really evenly. They're not overly heavy. Excuse me. The handle is super comfortable. It's by far my favorite stainless pan, including some of the other ones that we here at Swiss Diamond have made. So what I'm doing is I'm just letting it get hot. We want to get it sort of hot, not blasting. I'm going to put a touch of oil in here. I've got it over, just so you know, over medium heat. This doesn't really have medium settings. It's setting at 300 degrees. I'm not going to let it quite get that hot. I'm going to hit it with a dab of oil. And then, so what I've been doing here is I've been steaming out so hot. I've been steaming 8 tortillas under a steam shelf or under a steam lid. Quick idea: if you don't have access to a microwave, or if you don't have a steamer basket, if you don't have a true steamer basket, you definitely can go too wet on these. So if you're making something like we were making with rice, throw this on top. Now you can see they're a lot more pliable. They're still corn. They're still going to fall apart on you, but hopefully not quite as much. We're going to crisp them up in here. That's kind of the final part, is a quick fry on these. Pliers or not pliers, but whatever we got up there, maybe a spatula put up on stones. All right, so that's what we're looking for. We want those to just, thanks so much. We are doing kind of a quick pan frying these, so you can hear that. What's going to happen is they'll probably curl up, but they're going to uncurl as they cook. We're not looking for them to get all the way flat. We just want to make sure they get a little browning on them. We're going to pull them off. Excuse me. I only brown one side. A lot of people brown both. We can do it both ways today. Not a big deal. Probably needed a little bit more oil. Maybe not. Could use a little bit more heat though. All right, so here's what we've got: is we have these fish nuggets, if you will. We fried them off a few minutes ago. We used white Alaskan cod because it's what I had at the store. Any white fish is going to do. You're going to want to see how it flakes in the middle, just like that. That's how you know that's how you're going to know it's done. And when you bite into that, you're going to have that flaky on the inside. You're going to have the crisp on the outside. I'm having a hard time not eating that, just talking to you guys. All right. Just like that. Just a bit of color. Just a bit of color. I am going to go ahead and do both sides, because I got a lot of looks in the studio when I said I was only going to do one. So fine. If you fry them too hard, the problem is going to be that they will fry up just like a tortilla chip. And you don't necessarily want them fried like a tortilla chip, especially not flat. I mean, you can make all the stuff flat, but then it's not a taco. So you're going to stack 2 on top of each other. What that's going to do is it's going to give you more, one's too thin, to be honest with you, but 2 gives you more stability. If you ever go to a taco shop, taco truck, and you wonder why they're giving you 2 corn tortillas when they're only giving you 1 flour, is the corn ones, obviously they fall apart, right? So this gives you more stability, more rigidity in it. You're going to hopefully be able to eat it like a taco. It's still going to be messy. It's still a taco. That's part of the idea, right? We're putting liquid toppings on top of it. Well, not liquid, but there's very moist toppings, I guess. There's crunchy, and then there's the sauce, which is vinegar and honey. So it's gonna it's gonna be like that. So take these, flip them over a little bit, boom, boom. Put that to the side for now. So actually, what I like to do is I do like to take this fish and cut it. Putting the whole piece in there, you can see it doesn't really fit. You go to some taco shops, they give you that whole piece. It's fun, but it's really hard to actually plate these things. So we're going to cut them just a little bit. Boom, just like that. Perfect. 2 more. You can see this is it's starting to smoke. That means I'm at the smoke point of that oil. That's too hot, right? So you definitely don't want to be at the smoke part of that oil. Obviously, I'm going to pour just a touch more oil in it. Pull it off the heat. I've already pulled it down, or I've already turned down the temperature. The cold of the tortillas, or the cool of tortillas, should help cool down the pan a little bit. Turning that thing down 2 or 3 notches. It's going to smoke a little bit. You're cooking, but you don't want the oil to be smoking up. Again, I hit on it earlier, but what happens is the oil, once it gets to a smoke point, it starts to break down. 2 things: you're going to lose any of the good fats that are in it. 2, it's going to taste burnt. And then 3, eventually it'll get to its flash point. And so oil has a flash point, and what that means, if you heat it up high enough, it just catches on fire. Some of them are surprisingly low. There are flash points in the 450, 500 degree kind of area. That's something your cooktop will definitely do. That's why you hear about people burning down their house. They're frying with a really low oil, unrefined olive oil. Most of the super refined oil, all of those are going to be a lower smoke point. Just make sure you know what your smoke points are. That's my advice to you anytime you're using oil in the kitchen. All right, guys. So we do this every Tuesday. We are coming back actually on Thursday. We're going to do a little bit more. We're going to do 2 of these a week. We're going to try in the mornings. So if you guys are morning people, you don't really love getting on here at lunchtime, but you love what we do, hit that follow button down below. That's going to let you know anytime we go live. Again, if we're going to go live twice a week, you're going to be able to get 2, 4, 8 recipes out of us every week. We're about to talk about the cookware. We're going to talk about the sales. Like this particular pan, it's got 10% off coupon on it right now. You go to the page, you click on the you go to the page. There's a little green button right either above or below the add to cart, depending on where you're at. You click that. It's going to take 10% right out of the cart at the end. You don't have to worry about any fancy coupon codes. You don't have to worry about, I don't know, anything, really. It does all the work. That's the great thing about Amazon. Okay, so as I let those cook, we're going to start plating this up. So we are going to take these 2 tacos, or the 2 sets of tortillas. I'm going to place in some fish. We're going to use our slaw that we made earlier. I usually have a dirty bucket. I don't today. There's one now. So this, if you guys remember, we have slaw. I'm sorry, we have red cabbage. We have jalapeno. We have a little bit of red onion. We have the dragon fruit, which is what we're doing here. Let's see, dragon fruit, red onion. We've got some vinegar in it. Is there sugar in this? No, lime juice. We're just gonna play it like that, and then so we'll garnish these in just a second. Let me pull these off. Okay, same thing. We're just gonna take some fish. We'll put it right there in the thing. So I do with the fish, one thing I do highly recommend is make sure that you cook it within about 5 minutes of when you're going to eat it. So the one thing about fried fish, or fried anything really, is it's going to end up, if you let it sit for too long, it'll get soggy. We're not there, but if it sits for 10 minutes, it'll get soggy, 15 minutes for sure. And there's nothing worse than like a soggy piece of fish or a soggy piece of chicken that you've just pan fried. Or I'm sorry, just fried or pan fried, whatever. Really, there's nothing worse than a soggy piece of anything that you're expecting to be extremely crunchy, right? All right, so put some of that on there. Put some of that on there. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set this stuff to the side. I'm going to garnish it while I do the next thing. So let me get the next thing started so that we're not waiting too long. So the next thing, what we're doing is we are going to take our 11-inch non-stick Swiss Diamond fry pan. This is the HD. So this one's our top of the line non-stick. It's got diamond coating on it. Comes with a limited lifetime warranty. The base is cast aluminum. It's got 3 layers of our non-stick coating. There's a plasma layer in there to keep everything all together. That's again, they are top of the line. We're going to just put a couple slices of jalapeno on here. A couple of lime wedges, like so. Okay, you're gonna prig off some of this cilantro. Now, if you're not a cilantro fan, I get yelled at every time. If you're not a cilantro fan, don't put it on there. I know some people think it tastes like soap. I don't know what that's about. Some people do. Totally fine. Don't put it on there. No big deal. It's gonna be fine. It's more of a garnish on this plate than it is anything else. Okay, so that dragon fruit I cut earlier, we're just gonna take a couple of slices of it. Garnish out the other side of this. If you have in your house, these are especially popular in like Mexico and some of the island, like more Latin and island countries, countries, because what you're gonna find is a lot of their plates aren't white, even in their fancy hotels. You know, they're terracotta, they're made out of some kind of clay, so the white goes really well against it. Anyway, so while that's warming up, now you've got your fish tacos with what kind of fruit am I using? Dragon fruit salsa. These are gonna be a hit. Everybody's gonna love those. Boys, girls, men, women, anybody in between. Everybody loves fish tacos. Even if you don't love fish, don't tell them it's fish. Tell them it's chicken. Watch them eat it. I promise. I used to do that to my wife. She loved it until I told her it was. Then she did not love it. So don't tell. So next up, what we've done. Okay, let me recap what we've done over here because I know it's been a while since we touched this meal. Excuse me. I took a cup of orange juice, half cup of honey. I used hot honey, and I also put a quarter teaspoon of red pepper flakes. What else I put in this? No, that's it. Mix all that together. Oh, lime juice. So you mix all of that together, and then you put your shrimp in there, and you just let it sit for at least an hour. So we've had that sitting for that hour. In the meantime, we cooked our wild rice. Again, I used Montana wild rice. I wrote the recipe to be with yes. I wrote the recipe to be with forbidden rice. They didn't have it at our store. Get crazy with it. Get whatever you want. Anything is going to be great. I like the real dark roasted notes of the rice in this one. You can use white rice. It's going to really deplete that dark and roasty flavor. Okay, so what we're going to do here. Where are my dirty tongs? Dirty tongs. Oh, they're over there. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make sure this is nice and hot. We're going to take our shrimp. We're going to reserve all of this juice. We're going to take the shrimp, put it in there. So I'm using dirty tongs to put it in, then dirty tongs go back over there. Because again, we want to be food safe. We want to make sure that we are doing all we can. Nobody needs to get salmon today. Nobody needs to get it anytime. I've heard it's pretty terrible. All right, so you get all your shrimp, put them in there. It's on medium high heat. All that orange juice and everything is pretty cold, so it's gonna bring the temperature of that pan down. We're gonna cook those off on each side. Once they're pink, we'll flip them. Once they're pink again, we're gonna take them off. You'll see. So I just have this bowl. I'm just gonna drop them in here for a minute. While we do that, I'm gonna prepare our bowls. So, again, with the dragon fruit, I should move things out of the way. Once again, with the dragon fruit, we're going to take the fruit, slice it down the middle. Boom, dragon fruit. So, take a bowl. Actually, we need these cut. So, again, you can cut these like an avocado. Like a kiwi, just come down the center. Don't push too hard, you'll get avocado hand, or I guess in this case you'll get a dragon fruit hand. And that's where you stab yourself when you do this, so don't do that. But just kind of dice it. Save that juice, let that juice do it. Let that juice come out. You don't want to get rid of it for this one. And you just scoop it out, again, like you would an avocado. Most people are familiar with an avocado, most people are not familiar with dragon fruit. We're going to pull it out, we're going to keep this bowl. It's going to be our serving bowl for this meal. Keep an eye on that shrimp. Don't let it overcook. All right, we're going to keep that bowl. Boom. All right, stir it. So what you want to do is you want to cook it till both sides are pink. Honestly, not a minute more. If you've already flipped them once and everything looks pink and there's just a touch of translucent on it, and you're not going to dip them right into cold water or right into a cold mixture. Take them off. You're done. Let them cook, because what happens, shrimp gets really tough really quick. Shrimp shouldn't be tough. Shrimp should be buttery. It should kind of melt in your mouth almost. Most of the time, people cook shrimp, they overcook it. Not their fault. That's kind of how they were taught. All right, so I'm going to do this with both because I want to have 2 plates, right? So take this, same story. Go ahead and cut this off. So what I did is I reserved all that marinade, as I told you. We're going to turn this pan back up to high and put that marinade in there. Excuse me. I'm going to boil that down till it reduces by about half. At that point, we'll take it off and we're going to mix everything together. Excuse me. All right. So we're going to take this rice that we cooked. We're going to put it right in here. And then we're going to take that shrimp that we just cooked. And we're going to do the same thing. And then we're going to take some cilantro. Small cuts, small cuts, small cuts. Go right in there. Not a lot. Tablespoon, give or take. Not a ton there. And then the one other thing that we want to do on this one is use this onion. This is one where I am going to actually slice it. So you just cut the 2 ends off, you peel it, make sure it's peeled, get your cutting board kind of clean. And so I'm going to make itty bitty slices. Try to do this as thinly as you can. Don't cut your fingers. Make sure you have a sharp knife, guys. If you don't have a really sharp knife, get one. Dull knives are the cause of a ton of injuries. Yes, this can cut me easier. If I accidentally touch it with my hand, I could slice my hand, but I'd much rather have a clean cut on my hand than one that like slid off of a, whatever you're cutting, and then you jammed it into the side of your hand. Next thing you know, you're going to the doctor, you have a knife sticking out of your hand. You're like, I didn't mean to, doc. He's going to tell you to get a sharp knife. I mean, he may probably fix you first, but then he's going to tell you to get a sharp knife. Okay, so just put this stuff in here. So we're going to mix this all up. So there's no way these 4 bowls are enough. The downside to dragon fruit is find something to do with the other part of the fruit. There's a ton of fruit in them. Most of your recipes, 2 people, only going to need about half a dragon fruit. The good thing is it's amazing. You can eat it just like it is. It's got a texture somewhere between a kiwi and a pineapple, probably more like a kiwi. Flavor, same way. You're going to have the flavor, I guess, is more between a kiwi and a pineapple, more towards the kiwi. The texture, is that what I said? Yeah, texture's more like kiwi. That's where I'm sticking with that one. Anyway, it's more like an overripe pineapple. If these are underripe, if they're not soft, there's almost no flavor in them at all. There's a week or so ripening period. You'll get one. It'll be hard, almost like an unripe avocado. Don't eat it. Let it sit on your counter. Let it sit in the sun. Let it cook. Don't let it cook. Let it ripen. You need to get them ripe because all the sugar comes out in like the last week and a half, and then you have probably 2 weeks to eat them. I've never had them on the counter long enough to see how long they last before they're no good anymore. But I have opened plenty of them, and they've not been ripe enough. And then you're just kind of like, oh, it doesn't taste like much, and it doesn't. It just tastes like nothing. So do yourself a favor. Make sure you get them ripe, or make sure you let them ripen. If you can't find ripe ones, by all means, let them sit on your counter. Same thing as like tomatoes. If you get tomatoes out of the garden, they're still a little green weed, you put them on your windowsill, and then you're good to eat them in a day, 2, 3, something like that. Same thing here. All right, so you're just gonna plate them inside the bowl. It's super creative. You don't have to do that. If you're scared to plate things inside of stuff, if you're afraid that you're gonna drop things, or it's not gonna look good, or it's gonna look like you just shoved stuff on a plate, we've all been there. I still feel like that's what my stuff looks like. But people are gonna be super impressed when you use the outside of the food. When's the last time you went to when you went to islands and you got that drink in that coconut, or that one in that pineapple? Didn't make the drink taste any better, but boy, did you feel like you were special. You're drinking this high octane drink out of a coconut. then you're fighting with a monkey because he tries to take your coconut. Then you ask for another one, and it's a big fight. You get kicked off the island. No, not you, just me. Okay, well. All right, so what we're doing here is we want to get this down a little bit farther. I want it to not be as watery. I want it to thicken up just a little bit. Actually just going to go ahead and whisk it. We're really close. There's a ton of sugar in this with the honey and the orange juice. Excuse me. It should thicken up quite nicely. I went ahead and put it on all the way high. You can definitely do this on all the way high. If there's things in your pan, go ahead and feel free to cook on high. Just make sure you're watching it. You can overheat them. If there's nothing in your pan, just preheat your pan on medium. You know, you don't have to have your pan hot in 2 seconds. Honestly, if you preheat our pan or anybody's pan on medium, what's going to happen is you're going to get a better heat throughout the pan. You're going to get heat up on the ledge. It's just going to be a better cooking experience. And there's no reason to just crank it up and see how much heat the pan can take. In most cases, ours, ton of other brands, you're not going to be able to crank it up to full. If you have a gas range, you're going to get way above 500 degrees. And that can start playing havoc on, in our case, the coating. In other cases, you can start warping pans. Don't do that. Preheat on medium. Come in. If you need it hotter, turn it up. Put your water in, put your meat in, whatever. If there's something in the pan, the cold on the bottom competes with the hot on the top. It keeps everything nice and consistent temperature. You're good to go. So you can see how this is kind of starting to bubble up all throughout here. We're getting really close. I'm just trying to create a glaze. I don't know if you guys can see this, but normally by now this stuff will be stuck to the bottom of the pan. And as I run the spatula or the whisk through, I should look at which one I'm using, it just kind of comes up, yeah? So this is going to create just a bit of heat, a ton of sweet to go on this, which is going to actually have a really big umami flavor because of the rice, because of the fish. I mean, the shrimp. I guess shrimp is fish. So it's going to compete. It's going to be fantastic. This is going to blow people's minds away. It's so easy. You know, if you guys watch me cook it, I've been here for 35, 40 minutes, but I made 2 meals. This one took only the time it takes to cook the rice. I used a wild rice that takes almost an hour. You can use actual forbidden rice. You can get it here on Amazon. You can get it at most local grocery stores. You can use any rice. I would really not get white rice or your brown rice, you know, stuff that comes in the 10-pound bags. That's great for other dishes. It's great for casseroles. It's not really good here. You want the rice to kind of be a little bit firmer, to have a flavor to it. You know, that white rice, you know, when you eat rice by itself, I don't know, my uncle puts ketchup on it because there's no flavor in it. My uncle puts ketchup on ice cream though, so maybe he's just weird. I don't know. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. Now it's more of a thick glaze. It's still a little wet, but it's going to be perfect. Okay, so we're going to turn that down. So if you feel comfortable, you're going to drizzle right out of the pan. If you don't feel comfortable, you can put it in a drizzle jar or a measuring cup with a spout. Anything with a spout if you don't feel comfortable coming right out of the pan. So if you just hold it high enough and you go slow, and watch what you're doing, you should just be able to drizzle right across. A little bit of mess is fine. You don't want an all white plate. It looks weird. You know, when you're plating, try to stay off the rim. Try to not have the middle of the plate all white. Right? Those are the 2 rules. That's really it. Other than those 2 rules. Click that follow button. I'm pretty sure I said that. Come check our stuff. I got to pick an ingredient for next week, and then I got to feed the crew. If this is another tropical fruit, I quit, and the first comment below can take my job. It doesn't pay very well, but you get free food on Tuesdays. Oh yeah, can't look. All right, I don't know what it is. But I swear if it's jackfruit, I'm going through this wall. Chili peppers. All right, we're in. What should we make, guys? Comment below. Let me know if you have a recipe that you always want to try, or if your mom makes the best chili pepper souffle and you don't think I can beat it, put it down below. I'll take the challenge. We'll see you guys next week. I can't wait to cook with something that actually is going to taste delicious in fall. I can already tell you, I'm going to do one super hot. I'm going to do one that looks scary and is mild as heck. I don't know other than that what we're going to do. So we will see you guys next Tuesday. Thanks for joining us. We had a lot of fun. Do me a favor, click that like button, click the subscribe button. If you haven't hit the bell, make sure you hit that. Comment down below. Stay tuned. Next week, we're going to bring you another great recipe.